Gosh, I'm so hungry. When will the podcast start?
Hey, me too. I don't know. Maybe in a few seconds it will start.
By the way, are you already done with the different projects? Guys, it's very stressful.
No, I'm not yet done. So very stressful.
Oh, by the way, Direct said we need to roll the podcast. He said to stop saying unrelated things in the podcast. Haha.
Hi, it's okay. I was going to order some food for the podcast, but oh well. Let's go.
3, 2, 1. Let's roll. What is up mga ka-PASAHERO? Welcome back to another podcast prepared to you by the Pasahero Productions. If you're new here, let us introduce ourselves. I am Heart Lois Martin, your ate pasahero for today's podcast.
And I am Joshua Calma Maril, your Kuya Pasahero, and we will be your host for today's podcast.
Oh, by the way, Josh, have you seen the new viral poster on social media?
Is that the poster that has an amazing, unique design and very eye-catching? If so, then yes, I indeed have.
Well, I believe it was about the lack of jeepneys in Mindanao, which highlights the needs for sustainable and efficient transportation systems that can meet the needs of the people who rely on them.
Very true. By the way, Heart, or let me call you Ate Pasahero, can I ask you a question? Have you experienced difficulties when it comes to commuting or specifically riding jeepneys?
Well, actually, did you know, Josh? Earlier, before the podcast, I waited 30 minutes just so I could ride a jeepney. I was struggling because I really needed to pee. Hi, at least I was not late during the podcast filming. Hashtag early.
OMG! Serious? Well, we are in luck. Because, you know why?
For real? Why?
Our special guest will be talking about their sustainable development goal, and it is about the inefficient transportation system that our country, or specifically Mindanao, is facing.
Ooh, I'm very excited for these guests. Anyway, Josh, enough with my experiences. Let's go back to the poster. I am wondering about their poster. They probably came up with the poster because of the transportation issues our country has.
Absolutely. But it's not just our country that's facing this problem. Inefficient public transport systems are a global issue. I mean, there are so many factors contributing to this: lack of funds, outdated infrastructure, and a lack of political will. And the worst part is, when public transport is underfunded, it becomes unreliable and inefficient.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's not just about reliability either. People with disabilities often can't even use public transport because of the lack of accessibility. We need to focus on making public transportation more affordable, accessible, and reliable for everyone. But that's going to take some serious investment and commitment for the government.
I know, right? Oh, and by the way, I heard it was for an advocacy school project.
Yeah, you're right. It was made by grade 11 pre-engineering and architecture students from Ateneo de Davao University.
Hmm, it's so cool to hear that students are interested in advocating about issues in our country to the extent of them wanting to make people take action for it. Actually, we contacted two of the poster creators and invited them to be the today's
Guys,
guests.
welcome to our podcast. Please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hi, I'm Junhamri Android, one of the creators of the poster.
And I am also Raul Poklibar. I'm also the one of the creators of the poster. Thank you for inviting us today.
It is such an honor to have you here. It makes me excited to dive into our discussion. So let's get started.
Indeed, it's a huge honor to have these guys today here in our podcast. Here we have Julham and Raul, two of the five members of the poster creators. Julham, let me ask you a question. What was the main reason why you came up with this poster?
Well, me and my group mates came up with this poster to help in voicing out this issue that does not only affect jeepney drivers but also us commuters.
In addition to his answer, yes, our primary goal is to help people realize that we shouldn't be contented with what we, even if it is not enough to sustain our needs. and lose hope in improving our public transportation. Knowing that commuting is part of the daily lives of many, we must desire a better system, as it also affects our aspects of our economy.
Even though our goal might be small in the eyes of others, we think it's a step forward in achieving a better system. Because for change to happen, people must realize important this issue is.
Indeed, realization might be a small step, but it certainly is the path towards change.
I'm curious, what made you guys choose jeepneys as the highlight of your advocacy?
Well, as we all know, jeepneys are the kings of the road. It is one of the things our country is known for. For instance, if a person sees a jeepney, they'll instantly have the thought that it is from the Philippines. I think a lot of people will agree with me, but Philippine roads will not be the same if there aren't any jeepneys passing by. Their bright colors and distinct designs make them stand out when on the road.
So now that the modernization of jeepneys has become the talk of the country, I have seen a lot of posts on social media that show that it will definitely not be the same without the iconic jeep that it will be lost if they are replaced, since jeepneys are something we are hoping on the road. Despite the struggles people experience riding jeepneys are some known for. Just imagine that the jeepneys that you see on the road today will soon be history. The future generation will only see them in museums or worse, in photographs.
Yes, modernization is beneficial for the future of our country, but as a concerned citizen, I hope that as we go through this developmental stage, we will not forget our culture. After all, this is the Philippines, known as a bright and colorful country, where people are deeply rooted in culture, tradition, and religion.
I definitely agree. The modernization is badly needed, but there are a lot, and I mean a lot of risks that we must take in order to make such changes.
Oh, and by the way, can you guys share a bit about the story behind making the poster? Was it difficult?
At first, it was a bit difficult since we all had different ideas on what to add to our poster. But as you can see, we were able to come up with this output. What we did was imagine ourselves as ano, uh, heavily rely on public transportation in their everyday lives. By doing that, we were able to come up with the ideas that were much more in line with others' ideas.
So, for me also, upon taking the picture of Jules Humphrey in his photographer, I really can say that it was difficult because it was so embarrassing to take a picture on a jeepney with complete strangers, especially since it was for real a sardine can, like jeepney ride, the jeepney was very crowded.
Ugh, I can't imagine how hard that must have been. Oh well, for the grades, am I right?
Hey, I'm kind of curious. Can you guys share a bit more about the background of the social issue? Because as you guys said, your main goal is for people to realize how important the issue is, right?
Yes, our social issue focuses on the state of the public transportation system. Certainly, countries all over the world have some kind of problem relating to their public transportation. Here in the Philippines, our public transportation definitely needs improvement. Every commuter is no stranger to long lines, crammed up UVs, and long waiting hours. Due to traffic congestion and poor maintenance of some PUVs, the ride just gets even worse. Even though this is the case with our public transportation system, commuters still commute since PUVs, particularly jeepneys, are one of the cheapest modes of transportation in the country.
So, in Mindanao, specifically Davao City, commuters experience the same. However, The main difference is that there are few modes of transportation here. For instance, trains are not available, which is a mode of transportation that provides quick travel. The most common mode of transportation used here are jeepneys and tricycles. However, just like the other parts of the country, Davao City experiences many problems when it comes to public transportation.
I've also heard that your AdDUvocacy was based on a sustainable development program. Any comments about this?
Yes, our advocacy is in line with the 11th Sustainable Development Goal set by the United Nations, which is sustainable cities and communities. Although there were many other issues that we can focus on, we chose to focus on the issue regarding public transportation since it is what we deal with every day. In our poster, it highlights the lack of jeepneys. We came to the conclusion that it is a problem since, as we can observe, especially during rush hour, there is an imbalance between the number of POVs and commuters.
Well, we want to hear more from you guys. So we actually invited a commuter who has also seen your poster. She will be asking you some questions so that our viewers will also have better understanding of your advocacy.
Hi, so before I ask you guys some questions, I would first like to say that I really like your advocacy. As a commuter, I definitely agree with it. However, I would like to ask more questions to further understand it. So for my first question, since you've mentioned traffic congestion, do you think that adding more jeepneys is actually the solution or will it just worsen traffic?
Oh, first of all, that's a good question and thank you. No, it will not worsen traffic. Rather, it will lessen it. If we have more jeepneys, more commuters will be accommodated. Hence, long lines and waiting times will be shortened. And some people might go for PUVs since they will no longer experience the crammed up jeepneys or other problems experienced during rush hour.
Oh, so you're pertaining to the addition of traditional jeepneys. So what can you say about the modernization of jeepneys since they can accommodate more people and not to mention they're even air conditioned, which makes the ride much more comfortable for the passengers?
Well, I agree that modernized jeepneys will be able to provide a more convenient ride, uh, more than traditional jeepneys can. However, these jeepneys are too expensive for jeepney drivers and operators to purchase. If we observe the present situation of our jeepney drivers, there is no doubt that some really have a hard time sustaining their families since their daily income is not enough. In addition, implementing this would mean a higher fare since more gas would be consumed due to traffic and the use of air conditioning.
Why the addition of traditional jeepneys and not modern jeepneys?
Well, we think that the addition of traditional jeepneys is a better choice than the addition of modern jeepneys. And that indeed there are problems with traditional jeepneys, such as the fact that they are not that good for the environment. However, fixing these jeepneys, like changing their old parts, will make them better.
Then how would these jeepneys be fixed given that jeepney drivers and operators have limited funds?
Oh, we think that the funds will be used to purchase modern jeepneys will be of great help. Instead of purchasing item, it can be used to improve the quality of traditional jeepneys. In that way, we will not only have better quality jeepneys, but also be able to help them on the road.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So for my last question, what is it that you want us commuters to do in order to support your advocacy?
Like what we've mentioned before, our goal is for people to realize how big this issue is, since realization of the problem is the first step to achieving change. For those who agree with our advocacy, we would like you to please share with others what you know about this issue. It could be through social media or in person. It does not even have to be a poster as long as it pertains to the betterment of our public transportation. It would be of great help.
In addition to what Jules said, yes, it may take time, but if we are all aware with this issue, we will be able to create a movement, which is one of many ways we can do for us to be served by the government.
It is so nice to hear your answers from other commuter inquiries. I bet that the viewers are now aware of such issues and will hopefully spread the word too.
Well, since we're running out of time, would you guys like to say or leave something for our viewers?
Well, I would like to say that always remember, we can all play a part in advocating for change, whether it's contacting your local representatives, participating in community groups, or simply using transport whenever possible. Every action counts towards creating a better system for all.
I would also like to say to the viewers that jeepneys are an integral part of Filipino culture and history, and we should strive to preserve and honor this unique form of transportation. Whether you're a local or a tourist, riding in a jeepney can be a memorable and meaningful experience that you will never forget soon.
Thank you for those messages, Raul and Julham, and thank you for joining us for today's podcast. We would also like to thank our viewers for tuning in today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it and found it insightful.
We hope that their advocacy will reach many people. Through this, we would create change and help each other out. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please consider leaving a review in the comment box below to help other audiences reach our podcast.
Don't forget, realization might be a small step, but it certainly is the path towards change. That's all. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Pasahero Productions. I am Heartlois Martin, your Ate Pasahero.
And I am Joshua Calma Maril, your Kuya Pasahero.
Your
pasaheros for today's podcast.
podcast.
Thank you all for tuning in, everyone. Bye-bye.